Evidently, we actually need to have a conversation about Locksport etiquette and stealing other people's locks. As a matter of fact, the more I think about it, the more upset this conversation even makes me. Now, I don't know who raised you, but you don't steal from people. And when you borrow someone's locks and you don't return them, that's stealing, and stealing is bad. In fact, do you know who this is? This is the next person who steals a lock from me. I said it. So we have a huge turnover in Locksport, and a lot of these things aren't really written down rules. Like, we don't write this stuff down or anything, but there's kind of sort of Locksport etiquette that one should go by when you are a member of the Locksport community. The two biggest things, in my personal opinion, is when somebody actually borrows the lock and doesn't return it, and number two is if you get a challenge lock and think you're going to keep it, okay? If you borrow someone's lock and don't return it, you're a thief. Plain and simple. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You are a thief. Now, look, I know accidents happen. Trust me, I have had people's locks for months and months and months and months and months. Lock chuck. But it's not like I intended to keep them. And sometimes, you borrow something and you forget about it. And then you run across it in the drawer and you're like, oh my God, what have I done? I've got so-and-so's lock. I got to get it back to them. And that's fine. Okay, it happens. I get it. As long as you return it. And if the person isn't actively hunting it down and, it was just a simple mistake, that's one thing. I've lent locks out 3 separate times, and the people that I've lent them to have literally quit Locksport. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm such a badass that the locks I've lent out, I've been able to pick them, but the people I've lent them to have literally been scared out of Locksport because of how terribly hard the locks were. I like to think that's the reason. Either way, they just never came back to Locksport, and they've never got in touch with anyone in the community. They haven't got in touch with me. They're just gone. They are ghosts. Matter of fact, there's no way for me to now get my locks back. So I really would suggest that if you're going to borrow a lock, just make sure that you keep a list. Write it down if you have someone's lock. Make sure you have their return address and make sure that you have money to ship that lock back to them. In fact, it is just common courtesy to offer to pay the shipping to you and then obviously shipping it back to them. That should not be the person who's lending you the lock's responsibility. Now, if they offer to pay, that's fine. But I'm just saying you should at least offer and don't expect them to pay for the shipping. The next thing we need to discuss is when people keep challenge locks. Challenge locks are for everyone in the community. They're not just for you. Unless somebody specifically makes a lock and gives it to you and tells you it's yours, you don't keep challenge locks. You keep them for a month or two and then you send them to the next person. Unless you have express permission from the challenge lock maker to keep it for longer, you don't want to keep these locks for very long. It's rude. And if you keep them and never get them passed around, then you're a thief. Don't get me started on the a-holes who keep challenge locks for a really, really long time until everybody forgets about them and then decides to sell them all on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or wherever. That is low down, dirty, ghetto, treacherous, barbaric, debaucherous, asshole, head, mother move. Okay? That's what that is. You don't take somebody else's work of art, steal it, and then try to make some money off it? Are you kidding me? Let's not even go there. Just don't do it. So yeah, you don't want to keep people's challenge locks. You don't want to keep people's locks that they lend you because bottom line, you're a thief. If you don't know the rules and you don't know the proper etiquette, just reach out to somebody in one of your Discord servers or one of your Facebook groups and say, hey, how do you want me to handle this lock situation? Don't just assume you know, and don't just keep people's shit because it's so rude. Trust me, it's happened to me and I don't really like it, and I know nobody else likes it either. I don't have all the money in the world to pay for locks over and over and over again. In fact, I just lent Chuck Soup a lock that I've had to buy twice now because someone borrowed it the first time around and then never gave it back. And it was a $50 lock. I mean, that's $100 now. I'm into this one single lock. I promised myself I was never going to lend out another lock. But then what are you going to say to your friend who actually needs a lock and you want to help them out? you know? So just keep it in mind. If you want to quit Locksport and peace on out, that's fine. If you can't afford to send everybody's locks individually that you have borrowed back to them or send the challenge locks on, contact one person in the community and say, listen, I'm getting out of Locksport. I can't afford this. Do you mind if I ship all these locks to you in one small flat rate box is $10? And just ship it to one person and they can handle giving it back to everybody. We would much rather pay the $10 in shipping to get all the locks back and then figure out who gets what than for you to keep that shit and just ghost us. Wish somebody would have talked to these a-holes who stole from me about etiquette. Too late for that now, but I hope this does help someone in the future. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one.